Hey, Shalom, out. Oh boy. Yeah, I'll just wait. See how many brothers come back in before I start again. Yeah, basically I was worried I was gonna run out of time, but I made a phone call and I'm good. So I think I'm gonna have enough time to deal with legal age. So while the spirit's on me, I'm just get the work done. And that's what we do here at Great Millstone. We minister. We serve the people, man. We bring out the edification responsibly. Bring out the truth. We just gotta eat a couple of these nuts, man. I'm hungry, bro. And dehydrated. Oh man. Mm. Alright, okay. So of course first I'd like to give all praise unto Yahweh Shem Shai, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders at the Great Millstone, and honor to you brothers out there in the highways and the byways teaching this word in all sincerity and in truth. And shalom to you brothers out there that's listening and learning and supporting the ministry, and to the sisters as well. Now this is gonna be a part 2 of marriageable age, legal age, spiritual discernment. This part is gonna go more into the legal age and how legal age and marriageable age are two different things. And there's a reason why legal ages are set up within society. A society can set up legal ages. Alright, and we had legal ages in ancient Israel, and we have to understand the difference. Because just because you are deemed legally within society to be not up to an age to be able to do something, or to be mandated to do something, that doesn't mean you're not a man, or that doesn't mean you're not a woman. That's a completely different thing. Being a man or a woman is biological and directly linked with your sexual maturity. Okay, so before we get into the legal age, I just want to read this. So let me bring it up on the screen. Okay, so please note, the subjects discussed in this show are for your education regarding Hebrew culture. At no point are you to violate any law within your given constituency regarding the age of consent and a woman's right to refuse sex. Okay? It's for your edification only on Hebrew culture. Right, that being said, what's happening is, because these guys are searching the scriptures and they can't find an arbitrary age of consent which meets their emotions, because it doesn't exist in the scriptures. There's no arbitrary age of consent for sex or marriage in the scriptures. As discussed in the previous video, marriageable age is based upon sexual maturity. What they're doing is, now they're going into the scriptures and they're finding a bunch of legal ages and trying to apply those legal ages to mean when you have become a man or when you have become a woman, which shows these people are totally lost. That's why we're here to bring out the right way, because a man doesn't need to be 20 years and above in order to be a man, and a woman does not need to be 20 years and above in order to be a woman. Okay, So I'm going to go through a series of examples showing you these different legal ages, and this is just for your edification. So if these people try to come at you with this foolishness, you can understand what it is they're coming from and how they are in error. So the first thing I'm going to do, of course, is define to you what a legal age is. Okay? So a legal age or codified age refers to age at which a person may legally engage in a certain activity. Most frequently, this is the age of majority, the threshold of adulthood as recognized in law. So there's that legal term again. All right. For instance, in the UK, they have an age of majority of 18. So they define that you are not an adult until you're 18. Okay. So they have a lot of things within the society which they don't allow you to do until you're 18. However, you can buy cigarettes when you're 16. That's a legal age, which is not the same as the age of majority. Okay. Now, in the ancient world, in Hebrew culture, we didn't have an age of majority, but we did have legal ages for certain things, and a lot of those legal ages did revolve around the age of 20. But that had nothing to do with whether you was an adult or not. It had more to do with the workings of society. Okay. So we're going to have a look at some of these legal ages. And in these examples, other ages of legal significance include age of candidacy. So in certain places, there's a certain age that you have to be before you can become a candidate to be elected in government. Legal drinking age, legal working age, marriageable age, something completely different. Retirement age, school leaving age, smoking age, voting age. These are all different legal ages. So in this society, they have all these things. In the Hebrew society, we had certain legal ages. But again, that's nothing to do with whether you're a man or a woman. Okay, that's completely different. Alright, so let me just check the comment board, then I'm going to go into the precepts. Alright, good. The audio, is the audio good, by the way, Arkham? Let me just double check, because I know Satan likes to throw spanners in the midst. Oh. Okay, Khan. So let's get into some examples. Now, let's get Numbers 1. Okay, now we have to understand that Israel had a system militarily. Okay, when Israel was coming out of Egypt, we were in the state of preparing for war. The Lord spoke about Israel coming out of Egypt in their armies, which the army comprises of men. But there are certain things you have to have in order to be eligible to be in the army of Israel. One of those things is age. One of those things is you have to be able-bodied. So if you was too elderly, if you had a disability, you weren't eligible to be in the army for obvious reasons. All right, so I'm going to read down, which says, "And the Lord spake unto Moses in the wilderness of Sinai in the tabernacle of the congregation on the first day of the second month in the second year after they were come out of the land of Egypt, saying, Take ye the sum of all the congregation of the children of Israel, the sons of Israel, after their families by the house of their fathers, and the number of their names, every male by their poles," because the armies of Israel is inhabited by men. Okay, women were not eligible to be in the army. Okay, we didn't have women in our army. unlike today in this man's system. From 20 years old and upward, all that are able to go forth to war in Israel. So you had to be able-bodied. Okay, so you had to be over 20 and you had to be able-bodied. Thou and Aaron shall number them by their armies. Now that doesn't mean that if you weren't 20 years old, you're not a man. This is not what this is. This is a legal age. What it is that you, whether you're a man or not, you're not eligible to be accounted for in the army unless you're at 20. Alright? And there's a very good reason for that. Alright? There's a very good reason for that. Because let's say let's say, let me jump down because I know there was some more on this. Yeah, let me get this real quick. After they numbered them, it says Numbers 1 and 45. So were all those that was numbered of the sons of Israel by the house of their fathers from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war in Israel. Okay, and there's a reason why the Lord set up that you got to be 20, because the first 12 or 13 years of your life, you spend most of that time shitting yourself. You know what I'm saying? You know, like 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, there ain't really much going on. It's really towards, I would say, 9, 10, 11, where your mind is starting to change a little bit, where you start to be able to understand proper instruction and learn, and you start to be able to use your body a certain way. Alright, you can run properly, you know, things like that. Alright, you've been on the earth long enough, your motor functions are getting better. Nevertheless, when you get to like puberty and you become a man, because when you get to puberty, you become a man. For a woman, you become a woman. You are a very young man. Alright, you not only are you very inexperienced, but physically, okay, you're raw, you're young. You probably weigh, if you're in shape, and we're not talking about old beast motherfuckers. If you're in shape, you probably weigh between 8.5 to 9 stone, depending on your height. Depending on your height, you probably weigh 8 stone, 8.5 stone. You're a young man. You still got some growing to do. But you are a man at this point. This is the facts. You are a man. You're sexually mature, but you're a young man. The next couple of years, what you need to do is gain experience. Let's put it in the aspect of war. You cannot throw a young 13-year-old boxer in the ring with Sean Porter, Kell Brook, Errol Spence, whatever the case may be, because they ain't gonna have enough weight, man. They're young men. They're inexperienced. Not only are they inexperienced, they haven't had sufficient time to hone their skills, but they also have a very low weight, which in warfare, weight does matter. What happens is that over the years, once you become a man, you do more training as a man. The Lord set it up where you're allowed to build yourself up until the time when you're 20. And by the time you're 20, you're a much stronger man, a much more refined man, and obviously more suitable to go to war than when you was 13, 14, 15. By then you probably weigh, depending on your height, you probably weigh about 12 stone, 11 and a half, 12 stone. You're much weightier. You got much more muscle. You're much more experienced with your skills. Alright? Which is why the Mosai set up this legal age of 20. And it only makes sense militarily. Alright? This is how you get understanding. It doesn't mean that you weren't a man until you became 20. It just simply means you wasn't a man that was eligible to go to war because you still had a lot of learning to do. You still had growing. That's got nothing to do with marriage and nothing to do with sex. It's to do with war. And like I said, you can still see that today. That's why they don't throw 14-year-old NFL prospects in the NFL with the grown ass men, because them guys are more experienced, more skilled, okay, and they got more muscle because they've been alive for longer. They've been men for longer. All right, and you can see that with basketball. You can see that with boxing. All right, let me hit the comment board, and then I'll move on with the point. All right, beautiful. So then what they say is that, oh, the next thing they'll try and say, well, you're not held accountable for your actions until you're 20 years old, because the Lord only killed those that were 20 years old and upward in the wilderness, and anyone below 20, they weren't killed because they were children. That's also an error. And I'm going to explain to you why the Lord killed everyone above 21 years old. Because they were the ones that were supposed to go to war. They were the ones that were scared and murmured against the Lord. Alright, it wasn't for those that were under 20, even though they were men, to go to war. We just read that. The ones that were eligible to go to war were 20 years old and upward, which is why the judgment came upon them. Numbers 14 and 29. Your carcasses, in fact, let me start from verse 26. It says, and the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, saying, how long shall I bear with this evil congregation which murmur against me? I have heard the murmurings of the sons of Israel, which they murmur against me. Say unto them, as truly as I live, saith the Lord, as ye have spoken in my ears, so will I do. Because they were murmuring about having to go and fight them heathens. Now the ones that didn't have to go fight, they weren't murmuring. It wasn't their responsibility to fight. It was the ones who had to go fight that were murmuring, that were doubtful, that were showing a lack of faith. Except for Joshua and Caleb. They were faithful. They didn't give a damn. They were like, look, the Lord's with us. So it says here, your carcasses shall fall in this wilderness, and all that were numbered of you, according to your whole number, from 20 years old and upward, which have murmured against me. Doubtless ye shall not come into the land concerning which I swear to make you dwell therein, save Caleb the son of Jephunneh and Joshua the son of Nun. But your little ones which ye said should be a prey, them will I bring in, and they shall know the land which ye have despised. Alright, now they'll read that and think, okay, so that means a 19-year-old was a little one. No, you have to have understanding, man. They were scared for the young ones, obviously. Okay? But that doesn't mean that a 19-year-old is a little one and then a 20-year-old is a big one. That shows you people, like, that's what I'm saying, you people got to have spiritual understanding of what is going on. The young men, right, and the children were spared. The children were spared. They were going to kingdom. The young men were spared because they didn't murmur against the Lord, because it wasn't on them to go and fight. That doesn't mean they weren't men. Boy. So that's one legal age in the scriptures. Now there's another legal age in the scriptures. Numbers 8 and 24. It says, this is that belongeth unto the Levites. From 20 and 5 years old and upward shall they go in to wait upon the service of the tabernacle of the congregation. And from the age of 50 years they shall cease waiting upon the service thereof, and shall serve no more, but shall minister with their brethren in the tabernacle of the congregation, to keep the charge, and shall do no service. Thou shalt do unto the Levites touching their charge. So here we have another legal age to be found in the scriptures. Right? Alright? And this legal age is 25, and this is for Levites to do service in the tabernacle of the congregation. Now, does that mean that a Levite that was below the age of 25 wasn't a man. No, it just means that they weren't eligible for the service, that particular service, and they were with good reason. Now you might say, what would be the reason why you would have to be 25 years old to do the service of the tabernacle? Because that was a very particular and peculiar service. So the Lord set it up that you would have extra amount of years to study so that you could get it perfect before you began that particular service, because you had to be perfect in what you were doing. Just like today you got your bachelor's degree, and then you got to do extra amount of years to get your master's, and then you got to do an extra amount of years to do your PhD. Well, to perform that particular office, you had to do a certain amount of years of learning as a man before you could take up that service. And the legal age that the Lord set up for that particular service was 25. It's got nothing to do with whether you're a man or not. It's just the legal age, and there's a perfect reason for it. And then obviously once you reach the age of 50, you even though you're 50 now, the Lord has said, you got to fall back. You're going to be dropping in energy. You know what I'm saying? Now you do something else among the people in the tabernacle. You probably help teach the guys that were under 25 the service. Okay? Legal age. Nothing to do with whether you're a man or a woman yet. Okay? Again, Numbers 4:1. And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, take the sum of the sons of Kohath from among the sons of Levi after their families by the house of their fathers, from 30 years old and upward, even until 50 years old, all that enter into the host to do the work of the tabernacle of the congregation. This shall be the service of the sons of Kohath in the tabernacle of the congregation about the most holy things. So even this honor, this office was so of high regard that you had to do, compared to the other service, you had to be an extra 5 years older in order to do this particular service. Now, does that mean that before that you was not a man? No, it's got nothing to do with sexual maturity or marriageable age. It just simply means that the Lord afforded you that 30 years to gain the experience necessary to do the job. Okay? It's a legal age. Okay? Now, when you go into the scriptures, there was also certain sacrifices which the Lord set up different ages and determined that. So when we go to Numbers 3, am I in the right one? Which one is this? Exodus 3, the veil. Oh man, I think this thing messed up. Just give me a second here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that's one. This should be one here as well in Numbers 3. So lucky, I'll find it real quick. Between 5 and 20. Okay, yeah, that's the one I wanted in Leviticus 27. I don't know why that other scripture was up. I must have been looking for something. But anyway, right, so here we have another instance, okay? Leviticus 27:1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when a man shall make a singular vow, the persons that shall be for the Lord by estimation, and thy estimation shall be of the male from 20 years old even unto 60 years old, even thy estimation shall be 50 shekels of silver after the shekel of the sanctuary. Now, the reason this is being done is because basically what it is, it's like you're going to dedicate yourself or someone to the temple, only the Levites could do certain things in the temple. So instead of you actually going and doing the service, you would just give the money. It's just like when you would dedicate a house or a piece of land to the temple. You wouldn't actually give the temple the land or give the house to the temple. You would give the value of the house or a certain value of the productive ability of that land to the temple when you go into the law. So this situation is pretty much the same. All right, so you're kind of giving like for like here, but in money. So it says, and thy estimation shall be of the male from 20 years old, which is the legal age, one of the legal ages for priesthoods. Okay, the base not the priesthood. This not priesthood. This is one of the legal ages that do exist in the scriptures. All right, and thy estimation shall be of the male from 20 years old even unto 60 years old. Even thy estimation shall be 50 shekels of silver after the shekel of the sanctuary. So the Lord put a separation here. If a guy was between 20 and 60, that was the amount of money he had to pay. All right, and if it be a female, then that estimation shall be 30 shekels. So a woman of that same age group was less. And it be from 5 years old even unto 20 years old, then thy estimation shall be of the male 20 shekels, and for the female 10 shekels. Now that doesn't mean that if you were below 20, you weren't a man. This has got nothing to do with that. It's just a legal age in terms of estimation of value. All right, and what it will be deemed that you have to pay. All right, and if it be from a month old even unto 5 years old, then thy estimation shall be of the male 5 shekels of silver, and for the female thy estimation shall be 3 shekels of silver. And if it be from 60 years old and above, if it be a male, then thy estimation shall be 15 shekels, and for the female 10 shekels. But if he be poorer than thy estimation, then he shall present himself before the priest, and the priest shall value him according to his ability that vowed shall the priest value him. So if you couldn't afford certain thing, they'll make they'll check that out. But again, this has got nothing to do with whether you're a man or not, because like I said, you are a man when you are a man, which is sexual maturity. But there are certain legal ages, and this has got nothing to do with marriage or having sex. All right, and lastly, there's another account here of giving certain what's it called, vows. You weren't eligible to give that vow if you were below 20. And again, there's a good reason for this, because a young man coming up to that age, he ain't gonna have a lot. He's a young man. If you're like 30 years old, you've just become a man. You ain't established, man. You haven't built up much for yourself. Again, that's why the Lord allows you that time. That doesn't mean that you're not a man. It's got nothing to do with whether you're a man or not. It's about your position in society and your economic viability to do with this particular thing. In this case, a vow. All right, the Lord made it easier for a young man to come up. Unlike this society, they make it harder. In the Israelite society, they made it easy for you as a young man to get on your feet, so to speak. So there were certain things that you weren't burdened with. That doesn't mean you are not a man yet. It just means you got it a little bit easier. Okay, it's Exodus 30 and 12. When thou takest the sum of the sons of Israel after their number, then shall thou give every man a ransom for his soul unto the Lord when thou numberest them, that there be no plague among them when thou numberest them. This they shall give every one that passeth among them that are numbered, half a shekel after the shekel of the sanctuary. A shekel is 20 gerahs, and half shekel shall be the offering of the Lord. Every one that passeth among them that are numbered from 20 years old and above shall give an offering unto the Lord. The rich shall not give more, and the poor shall not give less than half a shekel when they give an offering unto the Lord to make an atonement for your soul. So this is a situation, but that doesn't mean that if you were below the age of 20, you wasn't a man. That is ridiculous. That is stupid. You're not understanding what's going on in these various situations. They're legal ages, and they're set up for a reason to do with whatever is going on socially. It's got nothing to do with sex and your marriageable age and you actually being a man. That's ridiculous. Okay? Otherwise, there would be a law specifically saying that you're not a man until you're 20. That's not in the scriptures, man. All right, so I just wanted to go over these different legal ages, man, and show what they're really talking about, man. And it doesn't mean that a woman's not a woman until they're 20 and a man's not a man until they're 20. All right, they were young. Once you hit puberty, you're a young man and you're a young woman of little experience. And you were, in certain cases, you were not eligible to certain things, so you could build yourself up. But you were eligible for marriage, okay? Because you are a man and you are a woman. You've transcended from childhood. All right? It's just true. So I think that's pretty much all I wanted to make the point on that. Yeah, Job 14:7, gird up thy loins now like a man, I will demand of thee and declare thou unto me, man. Yeah, you become a man, man. So you see these guys, they're gonna come with this bullshit talking about 20 years old is when a woman can get married. That's not in the scriptures. There's nowhere in the scriptures that says a woman can only get married when she's 20 years old and above. That none of these scriptures is talking about when you can get married. All right. Otherwise, in 1 Corinthians, Paul would have made it clear that the woman has to be 20 years and older. He didn't say that. He said once she passed the flower of her age, which is according to nature. All right. All right. So there weren't no such thing as adolescence. However, even though you was a man, even though you were into adulthood, there were certain things that you weren't eligible for, certain payments you didn't have to pay because for a good reason, man. All right, and then there were certain things you couldn't do even after certain ages because you needed to build up experience, and that's what it is. All right, it's very simple, easy to understand. I don't see what the confusion is, but I mean, these guys, they just want to argue. Okay, I'm not going to say no more on that. So there's nothing else. I'm going to say shalom, and I hope brothers were edified on this point. Shalom.